getting somewhere here with these videos.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a great Instagram story. Oh, hell yeah. HAV2. Riley, you've been riding.
I like them.
Yeah, they're good. You've been riding these for over a month now? Probably got a lot of good sessions. Oh, months now.
I'd say a month. Yeah.
Yeah, when were you in Baja? It was a while ago.
Yeah, that was January.
You've been riding these for 3 months now. Yeah. Which ones have you been trying, and tell me about them?
I have ridden the 980 and the 780 pretty extensively.
Yeah.
Neither of which we have here.
Okay.
But this is the 880.
Oh yeah.
Right in between.
Yeah.
Yeah. Versus, I mean, there's been a lot of reviews out on these already. Obviously, they're hot. The people are excited about them.
Mm-hmm. With good reason.
Yeah. It's all true. You're talking kind of all the great things about the previous gen HAs with a little bit of the MA sauce in there.
More user friendly, high spec foils.
Yeah. Easier to use. I would say more fun to ride. You don't have to be kind of like on it the entire time you're riding. The old HAs were a blast, but you really had to keep them going.
Yeah, I think that's something I've heard from a lot of people is that, the old HAs had incredible speed range, incredible glide, but you didn't want to mess up. It's easy to, lose that power and stall off and all that. Who do you think these foils would be for? I think it's, maybe you've ridden the MA foils a bit. You're not on the low aspect truly, and you're in small waves or wind swell. That's what they're gonna excel in.
Yeah. I mean, I think the MAs definitely still have their place.
Oh yeah.
Especially in really powered up swell. They're fantastic, super fun, carve, glide, just kind of flow. I would say the MA is still the best pure wave riding experience from Armstrong. But as far as just kind of making the most of the widest variety of conditions, I think the HAs take the cake. You can be out here in knee-high wind chop and
cruising for a minute downwind.
You can cruise forever.
Yeah.
It's really insane. Just how much you can milk a tiny wave on one of these foils. Even me at 190 pounds on that HA 980 in tiny little bumps, you can just keep going.
Yeah.
I haven't even had a chance to try the big one, the 1180, but I would imagine for the downwind crowd, bigger riders, like you're going to be able to go on anything.
Yeah, I think one in addition to the incredible glide they have is they're so efficient pumping. So when you're winging, you're not pumping much, but sometimes you're depowered with the wing. You just need to get forward a little bit, get to the right, or pump over a wave and catch another wave, and it's just so efficient. I feel like first time I tried pumping up to a wave that I was behind, it was easier than on any of the MAs or any of the foils I've ridden. So that's really good to have for the marginal waves we have here, where sometimes they form up and you have a bunch of power and then they'll kind of fizzle out, and you need to find another pocket of swell to get that power back.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. They just have this ability with the seemingly smallest input to just kind of bounce right back up to the top of the mast and just generate energy.
Yeah, bring that foil up, and then you have so much speed that you can make out of it going right back down.
Yeah. So, I would say, we're primarily winging here. Obviously, they've been really well regarded by the surf foil community. Just being able to, pump back out, catch the next wave, and kind of just keep your ride going.
Right.
But that does, I think that translates really well into wing foiling, especially in conditions like here and, you know, many places where you don't have that
open ocean swell,
big swell. You know, it just allows you to make the most of any conditions. And if it is pumping, you know, get on one of these little guys and it's pretty insane.
Yeah.
You know, how far you can glide, how just kind of the combination of glide, tight turning, low stall speed. Yeah, pretty next level.
Yeah. So let's talk about sizing a little bit. I know even myself, when I was looking at these foils when they got released and kind of deciding which ones I wanted, I initially thought that I wanted the 1180, and that's just because I was riding the MA 1225 and the MA 1000. But after doing a little more research, I saw, you know, that they have a lot more lift for their surface area than a lot of other foils on the market. So I ended up just trying the 880, and I would say that it has more lift than the MA 1000. I felt a comparable stall speed, so it's been really great. I think it's kind of between that MA 1000, MA 1225. Those are my go-to foils. I think so far it's been a great foil for kind of everything I've used it in. I'll probably try some other sizes in the future, but really happy with that kind of quiver killer size. So I wouldn't be intimidated. Say you're someone who's, you know, paid attention to surface area and you've been riding foils a certain size. I wouldn't be intimidated to make that 200 to 300 square centimeter drop, because these really have a lot of lift and it's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
It was not like a hard transition in terms of lift at all.
Definitely. Also, I think on the flip side of that, you know, obviously there has been a lot of chatter regarding you can go crazy small on these, you know, guys that were previously riding like 925s as their daily driver, riding like 680s.
Right.
And, you know, absolutely you can size way down on these. It's kind of wild. But they also ride really nice. Like, I've been riding that 980 quite a bit, and like the wingspan, I think it's slightly wider than the 1225.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But man, it's fun to ride. It just like whips around. It's carves great. You know, they have a good breach recovery. It's not quite as forgiving as the MAs.
Yeah.
Like, man, they're easy to ride, and yeah, even in that decently large size, I would say, you know, the 980, which a couple months ago, I wouldn't have thought, oh, that's a huge foil, but
no, right.
now, like, that's my big foil, and like, it's super fun to ride.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be afraid, you know, like, if you're wanting to get one, you know, I think that 880 for winging is probably a good way to go for most riders in the like 160
I weigh
to
165-ish
pound range. You know, if you're in lighter conditions, smaller waves, that 980 or 1080 if you're a bigger guy, it's gonna be awesome. And then, yeah, the smaller foils if you're in powered up conditions, for sure, super fun to ride.
And what about so one of the things they worked a lot with on their design is pitch stability under power. So when you are riding swell downwind on some, you know, different template foils, bigger foils, if you get into a position or wave with a lot of power, it's going to want to kick that foil right up out of the water. And what these do a really good job with is kind of in a variety of conditions, and I'd like to get your take on using multiple sizes. It doesn't feel like you're really having to pay tons of attention to like keeping the nose down or keeping that pitch and swell. Yeah. Would you say, like, what is your experience with that on the 980 and the 780? Is it similar or?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a really good point. They're super smooth through the water. I think they just kind of just cut through without kind of overlifting, even at speed. I think the big difference is really when you get into those situations where you're really powered up, you know, riding down, you know, piece of chop even, or a decent sized piece of swell, where where the smaller foils start to excel is, being able to maneuver, to turn on those waves without feeling like, you're going to blow out of the water, where,
right.
If I'm riding the 980 and things start to get a little bigger, I'm kind of tucked in, going kind of straight, trying to keep it together. Whereas, if I throw on that 780, I haven't tried the 680 yet, but that 780, if the waves start getting a little bigger, then I can start carving on it and feel a little more comfortable just slicing through the water, rather than kind of feeling like I have to just tuck into it.
Generate too much lift on some of those big kind of wrapping turns where sometimes it's the best feeling, but when you generate a big turn, you're going to generate some lift. So
but definitely super smooth through the water. Like if you've been riding the MA foils, it's going to be a really easy transition for you, and just you're gonna have a smile on your face that first ride, just all the extra glide and the pumping ability that you didn't have, especially if you live in a place like this where you're trying to make the most out of marginal conditions a lot of the time.
Right. Yeah, no doubt. We get good wind swell, but no ocean swell, and these really excel in those conditions. I think it's one of those things where Armstrong has really upped the game here again. I think it was kind of the same thing with the MAs. They're releasing these new foils when they've made significant improvements, and that's cool to see from a brand.
Definitely.
Like always, if you have any questions about sizing, you need input on anything, we've each ridden a ton of foils. We're here to help. Leave a comment down below. Links are going to be in the descriptions. Give us a call at the shop if you want to talk to us.